Tesla Q2 earnings report went very well yesterday, and there were a lot of things that we're gonna talk about that Elon talked about, but I think there was one particular thing why it went well, and I'll tell you all about it coming up next. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric. Welcome to the show. Thank you to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon. And if this is your first time here and you are looking to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. It's down there and it's free, so you don't miss anything moving forward. And by the way, I am in the new studio in the Sacramento. I know there's a bit of an echo now. I will take care of it in the next few days. So guys, just be patient with me. I appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about what happened during the Q2 earnings call. And there's tons of different stuff. The stock is soaring. It's 15% up right now as I'm talking about this. It's about noon Pacific here. It's 3 p.m. On the East Coast. So it looks like it's going to close, definitely up. But what really made it up? Because here are the numbers, and I'm going to be looking at my cheat sheet here. The $4 billion in revenues, which beat the estimation. Actually, Wall Street was expecting 3.1 or so. So the revenues are definitely much higher than they expected. But the loss per share was $4.22, and they were expecting $2.71. But despite that, I think what really happened was extremely important, and it is Elon Musk. Not only he kept cool about everything, he didn't make any unrealistic promises, and he actually apologized to both of the reporters when they were asking questions, to both of the analysts, not reporters, both analysts that he hung up on during the last phone call. The apology sounded sincere. It sounded like he actually was disappointed with himself. I do have to say, though, that he's done other things that were kind of on the same level afterwards. So, but I think what a lot of people, including myself, saw is that, okay, I think he's done going rogue and being all frustrated and just completely like just wild on Twitter. He was probably told and probably did some soul searching and realized that, okay, this behavior is not okay for himself, for the company, for the investors, for the employees, and so forth. So it looks like he is going to kind of curve his behavior. Hopefully that was a good sign, and I think that's what's really got a lot of people more confident once again in Tesla and Elon Musk and what's been happening. And kudos to him, absolutely. I've been very harsh on him for all of this Twitter stuff and all of his behavior, and hopefully this is going to change and he can be back to the leader of the community that he was all this time, that's classy, professional, and calm. So it was great to see him that way, and definitely I think that a big part of the response from the Wall Street and a lot of other people is because of that. But let's dive into what has happened. And before that, of course, I want to remind you guys that this show and this channel is sponsored by Avanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video, so go ahead and grab it so you save yourselves a few bucks when you shop there. All right, so let's talk about what happened. There are quite a few numbers to digest. Elon said that they have reached the production levels of 5,000 Model 3s per week several times, not 100% consistently, but he was also saying that they basically pretty much switched it all to their main assembly lines. The one that was and still is in a tent. The tent is the one that they're actually going to be utilizing to reach 6,000 Model 3s per week by the end of August, he said. So that's definitely good news. Also, they said that they've kind of analyzed what kind of cars people bring in as a trade-in when they get a Model 3. And if we're talking about, he specifically said non-Tesla cars. So this is not counting people bringing in Model S's and Model X's, which I'm going to assume a lot. But these were Toyota Prius, the Honda Accord, Honda Civic, Nissan Leaf, and BMW 3 Series. Now, I don't think it's very surprising. I know some people surprised, but I don't think it's very surprising. A lot of the same type of cars were traded in and people were driving them before they switched to Model S, actually. And Model S has been a stretch to a lot of people as far as their budget is concerned, including myself, actually, especially now that I do no longer have a day job. Got laid off on Monday, just in case if you guys didn't know. But I'm a little bit more, I think the 3 Series, BMW 3 Series is more of a competitor. I feel like this is where Tesla is going to be converting people from, because I think they're the most similar by the target audience. And I've mentioned it many, many times, and I have videos about it on my channel. Check it out. And also Tesla announced that basically now the Model 3 outsells the entire premium sedan category combined. Now, when they say combined, they basically said this is a BMW 3 Series, Audi A8, Mercedes-Benz C-Class, what am I missing? Lexus IS, and Jaguar XE. Now, I would have included Infiniti into that, and maybe a couple of other brands, because they're still premium sedans, but nevertheless, it's really impressive. Now, here's the chart that they put up. Now, it's a little bit misleading as well. So the y-axis here is not the units sold. This is the percentage, right? So obviously the percentage of basically a share of the market. So the gray line is all of those, cars combined. The red line is Tesla, and obviously it's been kind of taking more and more. So every time the red line goes up, automatically the gray line has to go down, right? So it's kind of a little bit misleading, but nevertheless, they're outselling it, and no surprise there. It's a much, much, much better car. So that was actually pretty good news. Also, he mentioned that. AP hardware, autopilot hardware is coming next year. As you know, they've been working on their own chip and on their own hardware. He said that the new computer is going to be much more powerful, and if you want to just upgrade it, it will be compatible with the current 2.0, 2.5 hardware, where you can just swap it out. I'm assuming for premium upgrade price, but nevertheless, it's compatible, and people can definitely get it. I believe it can process 2,000 frames a second, where a current one I think is 150 or 200 frames per second. So definitely much more power, and they believe that they have the best chip for the autonomous driving in the world. But let's see the autonomous driving upgrade first. As you probably know, I'm not a big fan. Oh, he also mentioned that there were a few solar roof customers now. There are a few hundred of them, and as you probably know, I have a video with one of the very first Tesla solar roof customers on my channel. 2 of them actually. Second one has a lot of different numbers and pricing and stuff like that. Check it out. I posted it recently. I'm also looking at my notes. Oh yeah, so a big thing, of course, is that Elon insisted that the car manufacturer, Tesla, is going to be operationally profitable, right? So they're going to be profitable starting this quarter and moving forward. Unless something major happens, like the market goes down, and there are a few other things that he mentioned. But now we just did a report, and obviously they're going to be building a factory in China, and that's the estimate from Bloomberg is $5 billion, which seems to be probably going to end up that. Now, obviously, they're not going to stay profitable and invest $5 billion into the factory. Yes, it will produce a lot of cars, but while they're building it over the next 2 years, that money will have to be raised. I don't see it coming from the profits of the of what they're doing right now. And yes, $4 billion a quarter, that's a lot of money. That's their record, actually. But at the same time, it is not enough to just finance it. So I'm sure I'm glad. That's for what I heard. He said operational profit, and that's great. That means that the way they are right now, minus any additional expenses. So that's definitely good to hear. Now, as I mentioned, he apologized to the couple of analysts that ended up being the first 2 on the phone call, first 2 questions, and they usually are. And as a matter of fact, it's getting a little boring because it's the same people kind of getting on and asking more than one question. I would have preferred if there would be different types of people also, and maybe just asking one question, so we would have different types of questions. Galileo got on I think he was the last one, and he asked a bunch of questions. I don't know. I invited him to my show to talk about it because I just don't like his questions. I think there are better questions he could have asked, especially about investments, because I think his YouTube channel is about, for the investors. And the questions he's once again asked were odd. I invited him actually in person. I saw him in person at the annual shareholder meeting, and I invited him in person. He's not coming on. So that's so we're gonna just leave it at that. But I just wish there would be more different types of people asking different types of questions, but at least on topic. So let me know in the comment section what do you guys think. This is great. This was, by the way, it was a bit boring, which is perfect. There were no more excitement about hanging up on or exciting statements about some stuff, or over promising or shocking. This was just a good old-fashioned earnings call, and I think Tesla's back. I mean, we'll see what happens in the next couple of months, but it looks like they are back on track. They're now making cars. They're going to be turning profits. At least going to be very close to it. If they don't, they're going to be very close to it. They're ramping up the production. They're going to be building a factory in China. Model Y is going to be unveiled next year. I think this could be a turning point. They kind of maybe digging themselves up out of the hole that Elon himself kind of built for the company in the last half a year. So I'm excited. This is all good news. Okay, before we get to the comment of the day, by the way, let me thank my new Patreons. Crafty Geek became the biggest contributor at $30 a month. It really just takes $5 to watch me live and to watch the extra mile segment and everything else that I post on Patreon. But thank you so much. I don't even know what to say. I really, really appreciate it. Definitely will help me get to be the full-time YouTuber at some point. Of course, more people have joined. Gethin Rees, also Charles Hall. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Frank Thorley also became a Patreon, and Kyle Mahan. He was already Patreon at $1, but he just decided that wasn't good enough, and he just made it 10. So thank you so much, Kyle. I really appreciate it. Everybody also gets my personal message to them. So I really, really appreciate your support. This is the time that I really needed, right? After being laid off, which was not fun. All right, let's move on to the comment of the day. And this one comes, we were talking about Hyundai Kona. I was talking about Hyundai Kona, that, it's coming up this fall. Also, let's not forget Kia Niro EV. There's kind of a sister companies and kind of a sister cars. And this is the Hyundai Kona. It's got 250-mile range. It's going to be priced in low 30s after incentives, and with a smaller battery pack. This is definitely going to be a very... I've been saying this all along, but let me just read the comment of the day. And basically, this poster XP8 Tim says, many consider Tesla to be the Apple phone of cars. Could the Kona EV be the first Android? Love the comparison. I make the comparison all the time. Tesla certainly is an iPhone, but there will be, and there are going to be other Androids to it. Now, as you know, Android is a brand. Well, it's an operating system, but really the Android phones, they vary from just as expensive and top of the line ones as an iPhone, and some much, much cheaper ones that you can get for free almost when you sign up with your plan. And this is what I like about the alternatives, right? You now have a much bigger choice. Now, there will be alternative like Jaguar I-Pace and Porsche Taycan, and there are quite a few other ones. Audi e-tron, of course, are coming up, and they're going to be high-end competitors to Tesla. But this is going to be, low 30s compared to Model 3, and just in general, another great electric vehicle. Absolutely agreed. This one, and I already mentioned Kia Niro EV, Nissan Leaf, once they're going to start making 2019 with a new battery, with a cooling system, and it's going to be another force to be reckoned with, also starting under 30 before the incentives. So that's insane. Yeah, no, definitely. This is one of the Androids that we're talking about, and people don't talk enough about it because it's not a Porsche, it's not the Jaguar, but it will be a car that most people will like because it's a compact SUV. It's got a decent range and it's got a great price. Oh, and it looks like a regular car. So yes, I've been saying this for almost a year, ever since they announced it, that this is going to be a big deal as far as not maybe publicity and excitement, but definitely as far as sales and definitely getting people on the budget to convert to all electric cars and love them and enjoy them. So absolutely, thank you for the question. I really appreciate it because that's I love that topic. All right, that's it for today. Please stay for overtime. If you're Patreon live, I'll talk to you about a few other things, including my new studio. Other than that, see you guys tomorrow, and remember to stay charged.